Hey, welcome back to ACTC Hobby Shop. We're back after a bit of a break, and today we're starting out a new series of videos that we're calling the Pokemon Professor series. This is going to be a bit of a different look at the Pokemon TCG sets. Not so much focused on the cards themselves and opening videos and things like that. This one's going to be a lot more of a scientific kind of minded series where we're going to pose an interesting question and then use a little bit of science data analysis to come up with an answer. And as you can see, the first question that we decided to pose, since we're coming to the end of the Sword and Shield era of the TCG, is which Sword and Shield era set is the best, plain and simple. Now, the best can mean a lot of things. It could be the one that featured the most popular Pokemon, it could be the one that had the coolest art, it could be the one that introduced the most interesting new concepts for those who are actual players of the TCG itself. But we decided to go in a slightly different direction and kind of look at things from a larger take, so to speak, sort of a full spectrum, if you would. So, to determine which series is the best, we're going to be taking a look at the popularity of Pokemon based on a certain source, and that was in 2020 there was a worldwide Pokemon popularity contest. What this was is, from across the globe, people voted for their favorite Pokemon, and a list was compiled of the top 30 Pokemon from each of the 8 regions. So that's 240 Pokemon in total. Now, based on the number of votes that each Pokemon received, we're able to arrange those lists in a definitive order from 1 to 240. Now, this list is by no means perfect because, for instance, it's entirely possible that there is a Pokemon, just say in Kanto, that ranked perhaps 32nd, 33rd. They wouldn't appear in this list, but a lot of people would maybe agree that they're more popular than a certain Pokemon from, say, Alola that did make its list because it was within the top 30. So it's not a perfect list, but it is by far the most comprehensive source we have on sort of what the larger fan community of Pokemon thinks in terms of what the most popular Pokemon are. So that's kind of step number one, is looking at this list of 240 Pokemon and ranking them based on the fan vote. That gives us the first kind of part of our scoring system, which you can see here is the rank-based scoring. So, working in groups of 10 for Pokemon that were ranked number one overall in the fan vote, from 1 to 10, they're going to be receiving 25 points. The next batch of 10, 11 to 20, 24 points. 21 to 30, 23 points. So on and so forth until you get down to the bottom of the list. Ranks number 231 to 240 will be worth 2 points. Any card or any Pokemon that doesn't appear on that list that has a card in one of the Sword and Shield sets will be counted as an unranked Pokemon, and that'll receive 1 point. So, pretty straightforward scoring system here. But it's not good enough just to assign ranking points to every Pokemon, add them all up and say, well, that's going to determine the best set, because there's another aspect to this, and that's, of course, that cards have different types. In the Sword and Shield era, it was based around the concept of V Pokemon. So you had your regular Vs, you had V Maxes, later on you had V Stars, and then, of course, you've got all of your more unique cards. You've got your full arts, secrets, alts, things like that. So, decided that the best way to approach this was to take the ranking score for each Pokemon, which, again, will be weighted based on how popular that Pokemon is according to the worldwide Pokemon community, and applying to that a modifier. Now, in order to keep this less cumbersome, we basically decided to disregard all cards that were lesser than a V. So you can see normal cards here, which are anything defined as non-V, so anything that was lower than a V, is getting a ×0 multiplier, essentially pulling that out of consideration towards a set's final score. Every set that's been released has, you know, upwards of 200 cards or so in it. That's a lot to kind of comb through all of the sort of basic Pokemon, the simple cards that aren't really sought after or interesting, both from a gameplay aspect as well as a collector's aspect. And, you know, we wanted to kind of take both of those things into account. So that being said, regular V cards will be ×1, meaning whatever rank score it had, it will just remain as such. For any cards that are V Max or V Star, they'll be getting a ×2 multiplier. Full arts ×3. Your secret rares, which are your gold secret rares, your rainbow secret rares, those will be a ×4. And then of course, the most interesting, the most sought after cards in a given set, the alternate arts, will be getting a ×5 multiplier. So basically, that's going to be kind of the gist of the science behind what we're doing here. Is take this list of Pokemon, apply a ranking to it based on how popular it was in this, apply a modifier based on the types of cards that Pokemon appeared on within that set, and from there you'll basically have the point contributions for each of those individual Pokemon within a given set. You add all those up, and then you'll be left with your final total set score. And this will give us a basis in, you know, science. It's still opinion-based because it's popularity rankings, of course, but still, it gives a proper level playing field to all of the sets in order to actually compare them side by side with some sort of level of meaning. So for any given Pokemon, let's just throw out one and say, you know, Charizard. Charizard's, of course, a very popular Pokemon. He's going to rank very close to the top of the list in almost every category. So within a given set, we're going to go through and basically look at, okay, what all cards in this set did Charizard appear in? And then we will compile a list and we'll say, okay, well, he had a regular V, a V Star, a full art, and an alt art. So whatever Charizard's ranking score is, whether it's 25 points, 23 points, whatever it is, multiplied each time by the modifiers for every card that he appeared on the set, that's going to be Charizard's contribution to that given set's score. We do that for all Pokemon that appeared in at least a V or higher card, and that becomes the basis for the score. So, which sets are we going to be looking at? Because obviously there were quite a few sets in the Sword and Shield area. You sort of had your normal ones, you had more of your kind of special one-off ones. We're going to be looking at just the normal sets. Okay, so here is a list of all the sets that we're going to be taking a look at as part of the series. These are the 12 what we consider to be normal sets of the Sword and Shield era. So this is not counting things like Shining Fates, Celebrations, Pokemon Go. Those were sort of special sets that didn't really conform to what we typically think of as the standard Pokemon TCG release. So, like I said, this will be our list of 12 that we're going to be taking a look at. Of course, the Sword and Shield base set, Rebel Clash, Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage, Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, Lost Origin, and Silver Tempest. We're going to be going through each of these sets in detail in their own video, highlighting the most interesting cards of each, what makes each set kind of unique, the Pokemon, of course, themselves, and assigning our final calculated score to each of these sets until finally we've gone through all 12 of them, and we can kind of see definitively when we line up all the scores side by side, we can answer the question that we posed at the beginning of this video, which is, which Sword and Shield era set is definitively the best based on this scientific analysis that we're laying out here. So that pretty much wraps up this one. Again, check back right here on our channel for all of the set-specific ranking videos. And, go ahead and leave a comment down below and say your prediction. Which of these ones, right off the bat, do you think this one's definitely going to rank high, this one maybe not so much. Just throw out your rankings and see how they compare. But anyway, thanks for checking us out. Be sure to follow us right here for all of these new set ranking videos. They'll be coming out fairly rapidly, is the plan for that. And of course, check us out at our website over at actchobbyshop.com. We've also got our eBay storefront and our TCGPlayer storefront. And like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.